I'll begin with a statement. This meeting will be recorded for the sake of the minutes and will be broadcast online later on. If you're not happy with that, leave the meeting now. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome. Does anybody want to declare an interest this morning? Yes, please, Ivor. Number 1, Wine Canddwr. Wine Canddwr. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you very much. And Anwen's got a hand up. I've given apologies, the apologies there. Oh, at present, the screen isn't it's playing up on this new iPad. It's okay. I can see everybody now. Can I have apologies, please? I received apologies by Councillors Kim Jones, Brian Angel and Mr. Tim Jones. If Elwyn can't join, then we'll apologise. We'll see. We'll see if he can sort out his technical problems. Number 4, any reports by the Director of Planning? Thank you, Ivor. Do we need to go through the minutes first? Oh, sorry. Can we go through the minutes? Beginning with page number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nothing arising? All right, we'll move on. May I turn now to reports by the Director of Planning and Land Management? Had we better propose that they're correct before we go on? I'll propose that they are correct. All right. This job, I'm on the spot this morning, aren't I? I was going to come in, but John beat me to it. I'll second them. Thank you. I'm Ivor. Okay. Oh, there's a. Could you put your hands up and show? There we are. Now, let us turn to Jonathan, reports by the Director of Planning. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Only one application is before you today. And David is going to take you through the details. But before we begin, John has declared, well, is it possible to move John to the, he's declared his interest. Can we move John to the waiting room? Rob, can you do that?
Okay.
Okay, I'll do it. There we are. I see that Elwyn has returned. Elwyn is with us. Okay. Sorry, Elwyn, I've made a hash of the first item. You can tidy things up now. Is that all right? Yes, you carry on. Thank you.
Down. I ran his screen.
Right, I'll share my screen. I hope it works. Can you all see the presentation?
Yeah, okay.
Item number 4.1. This is an planning application for the removal and repurposing of existing Broadwalk path with new aggregate materials in Waun Camdwr, Dinas Mawddwy. The application is presented by Sustainable Management Scheme, the officer, that is, of the park, on behalf of Mr. E.H. and SPU from Blaen Cywarch, Dinas Mawddwy. This is a map with the location of the path, and it has been located to the north of Plas Cwm and Cwm Cywarch on the present path, like the Waun Camdwr mountain. The summits Aranfawr and Glasgow. As I have mentioned in the package of information, the development has been divided into 15 different sections, and this is a map which shows the different sections of the application. Section A up to Section O, and the sections measure between 7 meters and 41 meters in length. And these are the mountains as they are at present, and examples of the different sections. These are photographs. The purpose of the planning application is to restore these sections of the present path. David, can I stop you for a minute? I've just realized there's a letter, there's a message from Joe who's having trouble hearing the translation. I'm not sure if he can do anything about that. David, can you check that you are in the Welsh? Are you in the correct channel, David? I think that is the problem. So I hope that Joe now will be able to hear the translator now when I'm speaking now. Can you, Joe? Can you hear, Joe?
I can, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. David needs to come out of the shared screen to see interpretation. Ah, yes, I see. Interpretation Cymraeg. Yes, you click on the Cymraeg. There we are. The translation should be working now as it's meant to. Yes, I'll try again. Sorry about that.
Iawn.
Right. So these are photographs which show the state of the path as it is at present. As you can see, it's quite boggy and damp, and the broadwalks aren't fit for purpose. So the purpose of this application is to restore the path with a new surface in the 15 different sections. These are examples of other paths which show perhaps how these sections, some of these sections will look after the work has been completed. Therefore, the assessment, there are two main development policies to consider. That is policy development number 2 and policy development number 6. Number 2 mentions the effect of development on the landscape, and it's important to note that the work is being carried out on the present path. So there are no other sections of the mountain affected, 14 out of the 15 sections will be replaced with an aggregate path using local materials and materials which over time do not appear as it has a negative effect on the mountain as it blends in with the landscape, and the material will not require much maintenance in future. In addition to this, in order to reduce the effect, the applicant has noted that taking the machinery and equipment and material can be airlifted to the site. Development Policy 6, this states that the landscape will need to be enhanced, the historical environment and environmental sustainability are important. As was seen in your packages, the applicant has presented a method statement and construction phase which sets out measures to ensure that the landscape will be protected during the time when the path is constructed. And the applicant as well has presented an ecological appraisal of the site, which includes some summary and mitigation measurements to ensure biodiversity protection and enhancement. And on the basis of environmental sustainability, as I mentioned, the path is constructed with a new aggregate surface from local quarries, and Arfog and Minffordd, for example. Other important policies to note is the Strategic Policy 1 and I and Strategic Policy LIL. It shows the importance of sustainability in the park and the balance between the nature of about landscape protection and of the park, and to balance this with the requirements of tourism. And the applicant has noted that the purpose of the changes to the path is to make, well, is to improve the path and the accessibility for the public so that people can understand and enjoy the special qualities of the park, and that it doesn't have a negative effect on this mountain. So, and then the Strategic Policy L is to do with accessibility and active travel and the importance of promoting this within the park. And we believe that the new path is a special way of doing this, and a way which is accessible to everybody, and as I said, which doesn't have a negative effect on the landscape. Therefore, to conclude, the purpose of the work is to restore the footpath in order to improve accessibility for all, but in a way which will not have a negative effect on the national park and biodiversity and nature, and the special qualities of the park. So on the basis of this, we support the application with conditions. So we recommend with the relevant conditions, which are time limit, approved plan and documents, which were mentioned in the ecological report, and to put temporary signage, erect temporary signage to make sure that the public remain on the new footpath. Thank you.
Gai ofyn pwy sy'n cadeirio wan?
May I ask who's chairing now? I handed over to Elwyn, if I understood correctly. Did you hear that, Elwyn? Right, we'll carry on. Thank you, Ivor. Okay, are there any speakers on this? I don't think there's any of the public here. And so does anybody want to say a word or propose or refuse? Does anybody want to propose? Edgar? I propose that we go with the recommendation. Thank you. Louise?
Yeah, I was going to propose, but I'm happy to second.
Thank you. So we'll go straight to the vote in that case.
Oh, blimey.
I don't see that anybody else wants to speak. Does Anwen Hughes want to speak? Oh, the green arrow is there. Anwen? No. I'm just agree with the recommendation, that's all. And then there are arrows. Who's CC, BC? Everybody in favour? Have a green arrow. A green tick. Everybody in favour? Yes, 14 have voted and 14 are in favour. Thank you.
Yeah, only am
So we need John to come back now. John Hughes in the waiting room. He's rejoined us.
Mae John yn ôl, Elwyn.
John is back. We'll move on to page 48 now then. Does anybody want to raise anything there? There's item 5 before that. Oh, wait a minute, I've looked at the incorrect one. Yes, the conservation areas, number 5. Ellen, thank you very much and good morning to you all. Following introducing this project to you in June, I asked for you to recommend the draft documents with any changes and then that you will go to public consultation. So just to note quickly, the first year of this project, which was and was presented for you today, are 3 series of documents which have been shared through links. First of all, you've got the introduction one, which gives you the planning guidelines, etc. And secondly, then you can see the individual conservation area appraisal and management plan for each conservation area. And then thirdly, you've got the document which has the specific guidance on improving energy efficiency of traditional and listed buildings within the conservation area. And it is good practice to consult with local residents and owners, etc. We have been in consultation with most of the relevant community councils. In addition to, we've sent out questionnaires to local residents, etc. during the time of drafting these documents in order to gather local information and support and the response was very positive. The more that the response of the public will be, the more likely that it will be done voluntarily. I'm saying this because there are recommendations to note some with designation Article 4, and this is in order to prevent, well, in order that although some communities do welcome such designation, it can be considered something negative and restricted. And the purpose of the project is to appreciate these areas and show that there are opportunities to safeguard and improve them. So, following your recommendation, these documents will go to those will go to public consultation, and then I'll present you with the final versions in a following planning meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. I've lost the camera now. I don't see anybody, so I'll think we'll carry on. I don't see that anybody wants to speak on this either. I can tell you if you want to, Elwyn. There's nothing much wrong. I see nothing. Iwan, we'll carry on. Nobody's got their hands up. Does anybody want to propose that we accept the report? John has got his hand up. John, I think, is proposing. We need a seconder then. Tracy is seconding. Thank you. And Elfed. Do you all agree with this? Everybody is voting. Okay. Right, I'm all right now. That's been carried then. So 13 are in favour. Thank you very much to you. I've had the camera back now, so we'll continue now to the next, which is the list of confirmation, beginning on page 48. Does anybody want to raise anything here? 49? 50? 51? 52? Mr. Chairman, and when? Page 52, number 16, Hafod Wen Harlech. I had several people phoning me their concerns. They've put a large black gate by the entrance, which doesn't really fit in with the location. Quite a few were concerned about what happens. We need some planning. Has the planning application? Is there a planning application here? I'm dealing with this planning application, and I was aware of the gates through a member of the public, and we've asked them to put a gate as a part of the planning application, which is considered at present. All right, thank you. I'll go back and tell people. Thank you. Page 53. 54. 55. 56. 57. 58. 59. 60. 61. 62. 63. 64. 65. And 66. Louise?
Yeah, sorry, David, you were whizzing through those and I was trying to get the right hand up. I don't know what that shaky one is. So can we have a bit of an update on 41? You know, the dumping of mattresses and carpets in Llanelltid. I remember it. It was absolutely appalling. It's a couple of years ago now, wasn't it? Before COVID. So can we have an update on that, please?
Yeah, certainly. In relation to this, obviously NRW have already taken proceedings, and they're currently going through the court process, which has been fundamentally delayed for probably nearly a couple of years now. You'll note that it's been adjourned again, and it will be due February 2023 for the actual hearing. In relation to ourselves, obviously we're looking in terms of the planning aspect side of things, and we have served a planning contravention notice. We've had replies, and I'm currently liaising with our legal section in terms of those replies. There's a difficulty in here, is that the actual owner of the land has recently passed away at the beginning, I think, of the year. So that is obviously causing issues in terms of elements of being how we're able to proceed forward if we're looking at going forward and taking formal action. So that's why we're in discussion with our legal section to see what it is that we can sort of progress forward with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Iawn, diolch Louise.
Thank you, Louise. Does anyone else want to ask a question on any of those pages? If not, we'll move on to the 106, page 68. That's for information. 68, 69. Then 13 weeks and more, page 71. Page 71 then. Any question on those? 72. 73. Ivor has his hand up. Ivor? Yes, Penaron Llanuwchllyn. A bridge over the river, Dyfrdwy. What's the problem there? Do you want to work in the river? What's the problem? What page are you on, Ivor? Llanuwchllyn, page 73. They want to work in the river, do they?
Obviously, I'm not actually sort of aware of the full details of it. I would have to ask the case officer in relation to that. But obviously they're actually waiting for the ecology response in relation to the application. So I don't know whether it's a case that there's issues within the water, out the water. So I mean, by all means, I can get a separate update to you in relation to that.
I was just looking at the date, the 8th of March. That's why I was asking. That's what's slowing the job down? Because in about a month again, well.
Yeah, in relation to sort of our ecological situation, I'm obviously aware that the actual post has been vacant, and so we have been using consultants, external consultants, to assist with our ecological responses for all the planning applications, and that is causing some delay in getting consultation responses back. So I'm guessing that it'll be in relation to a delay with the consultants.
No, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
If they went to appeal, would this be given grounds for non-determination or delayed determination?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. It was quite faint.
Sorry, my connection is very poor today. If they went to appeal, would they have grounds for a slower determination because of the delayed time?
They could apply. They could appeal for non-determination. But obviously, I think the delay with PEDU, that there's a long delay in relation to that too, with going for a non-determination appeal. But they do have a right to do that if they so wish.
And that gives them grounds for costs as well, yeah.
No. Whether they would go for that, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to answer that. I don't know whether Jonathan was able to make an. I think it would depend what the details were.
Just i ddod fewn ar hwnna, dwi ddim yn gwybod y manylion fel
Just to come in on that, I don't know the details either. The Dwyrid River is a special area of conservation, so there are habitats and assessments considerations, and that always slows things down. So there may be some things that the applicants haven't submitted. Without seeing the application, I don't know, but they are welcome to appeal if they would like to decision to be made sooner. But the applicant is to blame to a degree here as well. In a special area of conservation, we have to take lots of elements into consideration. We can give you an update, of course. It's just a cause of concern, but thank you for that. Thanks, Ivor. On to delegated decisions, permitted applications for information on page 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80 and 81. There's one application at the bottom there that's been refused on page 81. On to page 82. So these are the actual applications that have been refused for information again. 83 and page 84. Any questions, anyone? If not, we'll move on to the appeals. The Neath Robin one is an interesting one, and it's a very detailed one. That's been refused. There's another application that's been refused as well. Any questions in relation to these, anyone?
So, Mr. Chairman, can I just add with Neath Robin that obviously that was application. I think we actually refused that. It was refused twice before, then went to committee, and committee went with the officer's recommendation, and it went to appeal. And it's interesting to note that the inspector sort of concurred with the fact that the functional test had not been met, as well as the financial test. Yeah. So concurred with what our concerns were, and it was interesting in terms of financial tests, which the inspector has obviously put a lot of weight in relation to that as well. So yeah, for in terms of that, it's just obviously sort of rural enterprise dwelling applications that obviously sort of the test element. It was good to see that the inspector concurred with the fact that national policy had not been it wasn't going to it was going to conflict with national policy. So it was a good decision.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr iawn, Jane.
Thanks very much, Jane. And that's it. Planning committee concluded.